Oh. Narayana. Hari Om and good morning from Niagara Falls. We often hear the word Leela being used when referencing our itihasas and Puranas. Leela. When you hear the word Leela, what do you think of? What comes to mind? Miracles. Drama, fun. I have come across the etymology of the word Leela. It's a really beautiful meaning to this word. If you can try to note this, it's better. Leenam, bhavam, lati, prakatayati. Leenam, bhavam, lati, prakatayati. Which means an act that manifests that which is dormant. An act that manifests that which is dormant. And specifically, when we observe how Bhagavan sports and how much love he sports with, then that infinite potential of love that is our nature also, that comes to be released. So you know that you're engaged in Leela when you become, you're engaged in Bhagavan's Leela when you become more loving. But you're not engaged in Bhagavan's Leela if we're not growing in love. In our Vedanta and Ramayana course, we're trying to relate to Bhagavan. This is not just about Bhagavan, but what is my relationship with Bhagavan? I think I've mentioned this some other times about Hum aapke hain kaun, right? What is my relationship to you? Right now, Bhagavan Rama, Sri Lakshmana and Mother Sita are in Aranyakanda, specifically in Panchavati. And this is a jungle, a thick jungle. And in this thick jungle, there are snakes, there are cobras, there's the king cobra. If you ever get bit by a king cobra, that venom, what does one do to preserve their life when they're bit by such a poisonous creature? For venom, you have to use anti-venom, correct? And how do they make anti-venom? From the same venom, correct? Here, Bhagavan Rama, being in this jungle is like that poison. But within the jungle, there's also the anti-poison. There's also freedom. And that's where we studied Sri Rama Gita. Sri Rama Gita was not in the earlier portion. It's not in the later portion. It's in this jungle. And a great message for you and I is the way out of samsara, where is the solution? In samsara. Bhagavan Rama tells Sri Lakshmana, Maya is separation. Whenever we feel separate, Maya. Jnana is unity. Hence, we are studying Advaita. Vairagya is contentment. Sri Lakshmana is the icon of Vairagya. He's content just being with Bhagavan Rama and Mother Sita. He's not needing Ayodhya. Bhagavan is the controller. Controller. Controller here means not strict, but disciplined. A controller doesn't make matters personal. Bhagavan is impartial. And finally, bhakti. Bhakti is depending. Depending on the one who controls. The way for us to develop bhakti, to become more loving, we have to be in sadhu satsanga and dharma palana. When we are in the association, when we revolve around sadhus, those who are independently joyous, we learn that we can be the same way. And dharma palana is walking the path to independent joy. And how wonderful this message is of dharma palana. Who is there that doesn't have responsibilities? All of us do, right? So that means we all have a path to independent joy. Sadhu satsanga, dharma palana. For people who are engaging in sadhu satsanga and dharma palana, Bhagavan completes Sri Rama Gita by saying, Karu sada bishrama. Karu sada bishrama. In the heart of someone who's in satsang and is following dharma, Bhagavan rests there. All of us travel. We stay at different people's homes. When you go to someone's home where the parents are arguing, how do you feel? You feel less comfortable, right? If the kids are always being restless, they're breaking things, yelling, and so on, even as you're going to sleep at night, you still feel like you're hearing that. Where there's noise, you still stay there, but where there's quietude, you rest. Same goes. Bhagavan is in all of our hearts, but it is only in the quiet heart that Bhagavan rests. Sri Rama Gita ends with this most beautiful message. We continue. Our katha continues. I am on the 17th section of Chaupais, and I'm reading the Doha, how the 17th section ends. And this is describing Sri Lakshmana's relationship with Shurpanakha. Lachimana ati lagava so, naka kana binu kini. With utter swiftness, like lightning, Sri Lakshmana takes his sword and makes Shurpanakha to be without ears and without a nose. And by doing that, what has happened? Take kara Ravana kaha manau chunauti dina. By doing this, Sri Lakshmana has initiated the battle. I like this word, chunoti. Chunoti has begun with Ravana. So a new direction of Ramayana is about to take place. How did we get here? Goswamiji introduces Shurpanakha as Shurpanakha Ravana ke Bahani. That this is the sister of Ravana. So she is the expression, he is the locus. What kind of person is Ravana? If he's the cause, she's the effect, she's going to be the same way, correct? And if you're studied carefully, Mother Sita is introduced as Janaka Suta. If Raja Janaka is the cause, she's going to be the effect, correct? Jagat Janani. That she's known as the mother of the multiverse. How differently she is introduced and how Shurpanakha is introduced. And I'll explain more about this. When Shurpanakha is wandering in Panchavati, she sees Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana and is excited by both. It's not just Bhagavan Rama, she's excited by both. I'm just describing this at a surface level. There's so much to share about this. And she tells Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana. That's like me going on a date with two girls. Correct? And just to give you some context. And she's speaking to both of them that I am a most beautiful girl. I'm surprised I haven't been married so far. I am young. You are young. That we are destined to be together. So let's get married. Let's have a relationship. And as Bhagavan Rama is listening to this, he's looking at Mother Sita and saying, you can marry me, but an even better candidate is my brother. He's a better, I don't know about this show, The Bachelor, but something like that, if you get what I'm saying. He's the better candidate over here. So she goes to Sri Lakshmana, and Sri Lakshmana says, yes, we can get married, but I'm already married to Bhagavan Rama. I'm a sevaka of Bhagavan Rama, so if you marry me, you'll become a sevaka of a sevaka. You are a Maharani. You don't know what it means to be a sevaka of a sevaka. You are the greatest queen. So she goes back to Bhagavan Rama, and he says, my opinion's not changed. He's a better bachelor. She goes back to Sri Lakshmana, back to Bhagavan Rama, back to Sri Lakshmana. And now she's, through some Viveka, realizing that nobody's going to marry her. So she assumes her real form as this Rakshasi, as this demoness. And when she does, Mother Sita is frightened. So in that moment, Bhagavan Rama looks at Sri Lakshmana. Thus far, he's been looking at Mother Sita. He just looks at Sri Lakshmana, and like lightning, that sword comes and cuts off Shurpanakha's ears and nose. And you know all of this. It's still fun to listen to, isn't it? But now the most fun part is what all of this means. Shurpanakha is old. She says she's young, but she's actually quite old. And she says that I'm surprised I've not been married so far. She's a widow. Shurpanakha is the widow of Vidyujjihwa. Vidyujjihwa. It's fun to know, but not essential. So she's old, not young. She's a widow, not unmarried. So really she's a liar, no? And Bhagavan Rama is the exact opposite. Eka vachani, eka bani, eka patni. His is always about satya, about truth. Ravana had killed Vidyujjihwa. I don't know if it's consciously or accidentally. And he felt bad for Shurpanakha. So he told her, you can do whatever you want with my protection. That's why she was just wandering around indulgently, knowing that Ravana was there to protect her. That would be like a parent who would support a child's indulgent habits, correct? That I have so much money, I can buy whatever drugs I want, whatever drinks I want. This is like that. And so she's wandering without responsibility, wandering without dharma. See how this comes right after Sri Rama Gita. And she is excited by Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana. Her being excited by both is the exact opposite of what we studied earlier in the Kanda about Anasuya. Anasuya says you should see all as Bhagavan. If you're married, you have one husband or wife, and everyone else is your child, essentially, or someone of the opposite gender. But you see here, she sees both as her husbands. So she's already a very low type of human being. the opposite of Mother Anasuya. How thoughtfully Ramayana is playing out. Continuing with the Vedanta part, Bhagavan Rama, Mother Sita, and Sri Lakshmana, they're in the jungle. And what are they doing? They're engaged in satsang. Sri Lakshmana Gita, Sri Rama Gita, and on and on and on. What's Shurpanakha doing? Wandering. Engaging without meaning. Goswamiji says such a person is a murkha. Today we had studied a murkha is someone who's a mudha. A mudha is someone who is moody. A murkha engages in 3 activities. First activity of a murkha, they're engaged in vyasana. Vyasana means drugs, but taking this more generally, it means addiction. A foolish person, or more deeply, an ignorant person, is always engaged in addictions. Drugs, alcohol, gambling, all that you're not supposed to do according to Srimad Bhagavatam, which I will share with you in time. And playing on this word vyasana, I was away from Vyasa for the last 4 days, so this morning I got to be with him. Vyasa, when it's a short A, means addiction. Vyasa, when it's a long A, means analyzer. Isn't it so interesting? You shorten that A, you fall. You lengthen that A, you rise. Lengthen Shastra, it becomes scripture. Shorten Shastra, that A, it becomes weapon. Shastra then. How beautiful Sanskrit is, how it's teaching us what aspect of that word to focus on. So what do murkhas do? Vyasana. Next is they're always engaged in Nedra. What does Nedra mean? Sleep. And if they're not sleeping, they're on their way to sleep. And if they're not on their way to sleep, they're talking about being on their way to sleep. Nedra. They're lethargic. This is one of my suggestions for improvement in the different programs that we organize, is for people to be more enthusiastic. The speakers should be enthusiastic. The listeners should be enthusiastic. The people serving the food should be enthusiastic. That nidra keeps creeping in the name of Shanti. I'm just a calm person. No, you're not. You're just a sleepy person. Nidra. And number 3 is kala. Kala, in a lighter sense, means engaged in noisiness, but in a deeper sense, it means fighting. Kala means fighting. So murkha. Now coming back to Shurpanakha, is she engaged in addiction? She's a lusty person, no? Nidra, no responsibilities. Coming back to our son Vyasa, he sleeps a lot because he doesn't have responsibilities. But as his responsibilities grow, he will sleep less, isn't it? How that works together. And number 3, kala. Here she is instigating, fighting with Sri Raman, Sri Lakshmana. Next, she'll bring in her brothers to do what? Fight. After that, she's going to bring Bhagavan Ravana. Bhagavan Ravana. The Dushta Ravana, she brings him in to fight also. So this Shurpanakha is a ignorant person. And going on some more with addiction. A Sanskrit word for sense pleasure is called Vishaya. Vishaya. The etymology of this word is Vishinvanti Badnanti iti Vishaya. Vishinvanti Badnanti iti Vishaya. Built into pleasure is Baddha, or pain or bondage. Only an ignorant person would engage in addiction. They're ignorant that within that, pleasure is pain. We should be more careful about our indulgences to not be like this. Sri Lakshmana is looking at Bhagavan Rama. Bhagavan Rama is looking at Mother Sita. This whole time they're talking to Shurpanakha, but they're only looking at each other. That Shurpanakha, ignorance, is not even worth looking at. If you have to speak to such a person, speak to them, but don't look at them to become like them. In our corporations, we have to engage in small talk, right? If you have to engage in small talk, fine, but don't look at small talk to become the same. It's like having a fundamental personality and a functional personality. Fundamentally, I'm looking at joy. Functionally, if I have to say this, do this, go there, so be it. Everyone's enjoying? I'm going to take this deeper, but let's introduce Ravana. Dushta Ravana. I'm on the 21st section of Chopais. And you should note some of these Chopais. That way, if you ever share this katha with your children, or you happen to be facilitating a satsang, you know these points. This is where Sri Rama Gita is. This is where Ravana is introduced. The 21st section of Chopais, I am reading the third Chopai, and the first line of this third Chopai. Dua deki karadushana kera jai Shurpanakha Ravana Prerna. Seeing the dust of the death of Kara and Dushana, her brothers, Shurpanakha goes to Ravana, and Prerna means to change. In a sattvic sense, it means to inspire. In this sense, it means to instigate. She goes to Ravana and starts to instigate him. So what leads up to this? When Shurpanakha's ears and nose are cut off, she's bleeding so much. Goswamiji says it's like a mountain that is bleeding because she's huge. That young, petite form was a falsehood. She's a mountain that is bleeding, and she goes to Kara and Dushana. Kara means donkey. So one of her brother's names is donkey. And her other brother's name, Dushana, means wicked. So we name our kids Rama, Siya, Shiva. This family's name is Shurpanakha, the one who has nails like a sieve. Ravana, the one who makes the whole world cry. Family problems. So Kara and Dushana are brought in to avenge her, and they're with 14,000 Rakshasas. They travel in big groups. And when they see their sister bleeding like this, they're infuriated. They start yelling, attack, capture. And so this dust storm begins, 14,000 people moving like a herd. Bhagavan Rama sees this. He tells Sri Lakshmana, there's going to be conflict now. You take Mother Sita to a cave and you guard her. Immediately, Mother Sita follows that advice. She follows the advice now. Later, she's not going to follow this advice. And Sri Lakshmana goes with her. No problem. And Bhagavan Rama tightens his dhoti. He's wearing a dhoti in the jungle. He tightens his quiver. He strings his bow and smiles. Finally, I can show my Bhagavan-ness to all. So he smiles, he strings his bow, and he's standing there. Not standing with, we put our hands on our waist. He's standing like, I'm ready. Come. Like people wrestle in India, where they slap their thighs. He's doing that right now. And when these 14,000 beings see Bhagavan Rama, they stop. At the front is Kara and Dushana, and they can't help looking at him. they've never seen such a lovely sight in their whole life. And they say, we've been to all of the worlds, we've seen the sages, we've seen the Gandharvas, but we can't stop looking at this most lovely scene. So their war cry changes from kill and capture to you give us your wife and you leave. That they actually don't want to kill Bhagavan Rama or Sri Lakshmana anymore. We just want your wife. And you two go back to preserve your own life. And Bhagavan Rama, I guess, smiles even more when he hears this. The messengers of Kara and Dushana are sharing this, and Bhagavan Rama says, I think your bosses are scared. That's why they want us to leave. We are Kshatriyas. We have come to this jungle, and your bosses, Kara and Dushana, are our game. You know, nice sattvic trash talking going on in all of this. So the messengers go back, and Kara and Dushana are livid, so they start fighting. And in all of this fighting, before Bhagavan releases his first arrow, he twangs his bow and everyone becomes deaf. So much power. And all of this machinery, the axes, the arrows, everything that's being sent, Bhagavan is turning them into sesame seeds. What do we call that? Til? Sesame seeds? You know how small they are? If you drop one, you don't even know where it is. He's turning all of their weapons into this. He keeps destroying all of their weapons and destroying them. But these are Rakshasas. As soon as they die, they come back to life. And in whatever way they've been severed, so there's bodies without heads, there's heads without bodies, there's arms that are crawling. The show Walking Dead copied from Ramayana. The idea of zombies, again, all documented here. That all of these organs are moving independently. And when they're destroyed, they come back again. Fingers are separate, eyeballs over there, eyebrows over there, all wanting to fight Bhagavan Rama. So he realizes that this strategy is not working. So he smiles more. And this smile is one of Maya. And with this Maya, he makes each Rakshasa think that the person in front of them is Rama. So now who's fighting who? The Rakshasas are fighting the Rakshasas, but they think they're fighting Rama. So they're cutting down each other. But now you're thinking, but shouldn't their body parts come up again? What is the last thought that they're having? Bhagavan Rama. And if that's your last thought, where do you go? To Saket. You're not coming back. You go straight to where Bhagavan Rama's abode is. Bhagavan Rama's Maya is intrinsic to his Maya is compassion, isn't it? How compassionately he treated all of these Rakshasas that are there to kill him. And when Kara and Dushana and these 14,000 Rakshasas are destroyed, Shurpanakha runs. And she goes to Ravana. And you know what Ravana is doing? Those three things that a murkha does, he's doing that. Vyasana. He's engaged in drinking, half unconscious, and fighting. He's bossing this person around, kicking that person. Sister's a murkha. Brothers are a murkha. Other brothers are murkha. So now we come to the Vedanta part. And this is most deep. And I wish I wasn't taking so much time, but I can't finish in 30 minutes. It's too difficult. This is Maya, me thinking I'm going to finish in 30 minutes. We just completed a 50-hour silence retreat in Pittsburgh. So when you sit down for contemplation, 5 sense organs, hearing, touch, seeing, tasting, and smelling, from subtlest to least subtle. All of these can distract us. So what do we do in contemplation? Touching, I wear loose clothing and I don't touch anyone. Seeing, I close my eyes. Tasting, food is always after contemplation, not before. But what do you do about your ears and nose? There's no closing to them. The cutting off of Shurpanakha's ears and nose is iconic or is symbolic of how we have to have this degree of discipline when contemplating. Shurpanakha symbolizes raga or attachment. When we are contemplating, raga still finds a way to manifest. Whether I'm hearing someone else speak, oh, I have to tend to this responsibility. Or I'm smelling the cooking that's happening. Those attachments to worldliness have to be cut off. And who is the only one that can cut this off? What is Sri Lakshmana symbolic of? Viraga, isn't it? He has the sword of viraga, and with swiftness, he cuts off that attachment. Likes, dislikes. So this is Shurpanakha's Vedanta part, the relationship between Shurpanakha and Sri Lakshmana, their Vedantic aspect. Going to Karadushana and the other Rakshasas. With attachment comes a lot of baggage. See, Sri Lakshmana thought, the matter is over now. I've cut her ears and nose, but that's not true. I think that I've conquered attachment. I've conquered anger. One day of the silence retreat, people are so quiet. The next day, the mind is back. You thought you owned me. Really, I own you. A lot of baggage that comes with attachment. A lot of forces that come with Shurpanakha. Here is where greater than viraga, what is needed? Anuraga. Anuraga means love. When you love yoga, self-development, when you love Sanatana Dharma, independent joy, that's the final way to transcend raga. We've seen how viraga tried to control raga, but there's lots that came with it. But Bhagavan Rama, he was able to vanquish Karadushana and the rest of the baggage, the forces. He is an icon of Anuraga, joy. When we love or are serious about happiness, Shurpanakha and family, they can't touch such a person. I've shared in so many courses, if you really want to learn how to contemplate, you have to love the self. Only when you love the self will you be dedicated and disciplined enough to contemplate steadily, sincerely. Shurpanakha wants Bhagavan Rama without Mother Sita. Ravana wants Mother Sita without Bhagavan Rama. Shared differently, this is like me saying, I want Shiva without Shakti. Can you separate Shiva and Shakti? You cannot. This is why in images we see Mother Parvati sitting on Bhagavan Shiva's lap. The worldly person thinks of that as lust. The Vedanta knows that is showing their oneness. And bringing this very much to you and I. Religion is philosophy and practice. Spirituality and rituals. You cannot separate them. But that's what happens, isn't it? Some people focus on the spirituality and dilute it so much that it's no longer religion. Some people focus on the rituals so much that they exclude others. That's also not religion. There has to be the philosophy and practice. And if not, see how Shurpanakha lives in us. Ravana lives as us. Final thought. Shurpanakha wants Bhagavan Rama. And what does she do? She's putting her resources, time, and effort in attraction, in beautification. She is trying to change her body. And the next female, she's actually a Devi that you're going to meet, is Shabari. Shabari also wants Bhagavan Rama, wants to draw Bhagavan Rama, but she's not engaged in beautification, she's engaged in purification. She's not giving her resources, time, and effort to the body, she's giving it to her mind. Where does Bhagavan Rama go? He's going to go to Shabari. If you want independent joy, enough of articles, beings, circumstances, pleasure, possession, position. This is all worldliness, beautification. We have to shift to purification like Shabari. Narayana.